The sky over Philadelphia hung heavy with storm clouds as Claire Morrison clutched her umbrella and stared up at the crumbling facade of the Eastern State Penitentiary. The Gothic towers rose like the jagged teeth of some long dead beast, their stone walls blackened by time and rain. She had come here to document a Halloween feature for her paranormal podcast, Echoes of the Past. Beside her, her cameraman, Jason, adjusted his gear. "You sure about this, Claire? I mean, I read somewhere they used solitary confinement here, like total isolation. Prisoners went insane." Claire smiled faintly, brushing wet hair from her face. "That's the point, Jason. Haunted places tell stories. The darker the history, the louder the echoes." They passed through the massive iron gate into the main corridor. The air changed instantly, colder, heavier, thick with the smell of mildew and decay. Their footsteps echoed eerily against the stone floor. Rows of rusted cell doors lined both sides, each one a gaping mouth to emptiness. Their guide, a soft-spoken man named Robert, wore a museum badge that looked oddly out of place against the prison's gloom. "Welcome to Eastern State," he began. Opened in 1829, it was once the most advanced prison in the world. The Quakers believed solitude could bring penitence, hence the word penitentiary. But isolation drove many to madness. Some never left. He led them deeper inside, his flashlight beam slicing through the dark. Visitors say they hear whispers, footsteps, even screams. The most active area is cell block 12. Some believe the souls of the inmates are trapped here, repeating their suffering forever. Jason chuckled nervously. "Sounds perfect for our Halloween special." Claire, meanwhile, was transfixed by the walls. She swore she could hear something faint beneath the dripping water. A muffled sob? A whisper? They stopped at an old wooden door that led to cell block 12. Robert hesitated before unlocking it. He said, "This section isn't part of the regular tour anymore, but since you got special permission..." The door creaked open, exhaling a stale breath of rot and cold. Inside, the corridor stretched into shadow. Rust streaked the walls like dried blood. Broken chains dangled from the ceilings, and graffiti carved by forgotten hands spelled fragments of despair. "Forgive me. Make it stop." Claire lifted her recorder. "We're standing inside cell block 12, the heart of Eastern State's ghost stories. Locals claim to hear voices here, even see figures in the dark." A metallic clang echoed from somewhere deep in the hall. Jason froze. "What was that?" Robert frowned. "Probably debris. This place shifts when it rains." But then came another sound, a low, dragging shuffle. The flashlight flickered. In the far corner, a shadow moved, slow and deliberate. Claire whispered, "Jason, are you filming this?" Jason's voice shook. I think so." The shadow stopped. Then from every cell, a chorus of whispers rose, blending into a chilling, wordless moan. And the door behind them slammed shut. The sound of the slamming door echoed through cell block 12 like a gunshot. Jason dropped his camera, its red recording light blinking wildly on the cracked floor. Claire's pulse hammered in her ears. She spun around, gripping her flashlight tightly. "Robert!" she shouted. "What the hell was that?" But their guide didn't answer. His light was gone. Only the pale beam from Claire's flashlight cut through the darkness. Jason stumbled backward. He was right behind us. He can't just disappear. Claire tried the door. It wouldn't budge. The old wood felt cold, almost damp, as though something was breathing on the other side. Then came the whispers again, soft, sibilant, like hundreds of unseen mouths murmuring in prayer. They seemed to seep from the walls themselves. Claire lifted her recorder. If anyone or anything is here, please speak to us. At first, nothing. Then the recorder hissed and crackled. Through the static, a distorted voice whispered, "Still here. Can't leave. Still here." Jason's face drained of color. "That's not funny." "I didn't do anything," Claire whispered back, eyes wide. "That was real EVP." The corridor stretched endlessly before them, lined with iron-barred doors. Something clanged faintly in the distance, metal scraping against metal. Claire's instincts screamed to leave, but curiosity rooted her in place. "We have to find Robert. He might have gone deeper." They walked carefully down the corridor, their footsteps echoing through the silence. The air grew colder with every step. Frost shimmered faintly on the walls, despite the humid October night outside. Jason picked up his camera and started filming again, his voice shaky. "Cell block 12, 10:47 p.m. We're looking for our guide. Doors locked behind us. Strange noises everywhere." Suddenly, a voice, a man's voice, called faintly from one of the cells. "Help me." Claire's heart jumped. "Robert?" They approached the sound, stopping at cell 33. The heavy door was slightly ajar. Inside, the beam of her flashlight caught a shape, something crouched in the corner, facing the wall. "Sir?" Claire whispered. "Are you okay?" The figure twitched, then slowly turned its head. For a split second, she saw a face, gaunt, pale, eyes hollow as if carved from darkness. Then it vanished, replaced with emptiness. The cell was empty. Jason stumbled backward. No, I saw that too." Claire's recorder crackled again. "Repent," hissed the voice, distant yet right beside them. The light flickered violently. Then, all at once, the corridor came alive, doors rattling, chains clanging, unseen footsteps running through the darkness. A cold wind whipped through the hall, carrying with it the stench of decay and despair. Claire screamed, clutching her recorder as a shadow passed over her shoulder, tall, thin, its presence pressing against her chest like invisible hands. Jason grabbed her arm. "We're getting out of here." They turned and ran toward the door, but when they reached it, the padlock was gone. And yet, the door still wouldn't open. It felt fused to the wall, as though the prison itself was swallowing them whole. Then, faintly, a whisper breathed in Claire's ear. "You wanted their stories. Now you'll never stop hearing them." The storm outside raged harder, thunder rumbling through the ancient walls like a growl from something buried deep beneath. Claire's flashlight beam shook as she pointed it down the corridor. The whispers had gone silent, replaced by the rhythmic drip of water from a leaky ceiling. Jason leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "We're trapped. There's no signal, no guide, no exit." Claire tried her phone. Nothing but static. Even the screen flickered strangely, as if reacting to something unseen. "We have to stay calm," she said, though her voice trembled. "These buildings shift. There's another exit somewhere." They started walking again, deeper into the prison's bowels. The air felt thicker now, each breath like inhaling dust and sorrow. As they turned a corner, Claire's light fell on a small wooden sign, nearly rotted away. The numbers etched into it were faint, but readable. 108. Jason frowned. Wasn't cell 108 the one where that murderer went insane? Claire hesitated. She remembered the legend from her research. Thomas Carver, a prisoner who'd been locked in solitary for killing 2 guards. Rumor said he'd scratched words into the walls with his own fingernails before he died. Words that didn't belong to any known language. "We shouldn't go in," Jason muttered. Claire lifted her recorder. "If there's any energy left here, it's in that cell." The door creaked as she pushed it open. Inside, the air was icy. The walls were covered in faint markings, strange symbols, spirals, and words that seemed to shimmer under her light. She felt dizzy looking at them, as if the symbols were alive, twisting just beyond comprehension. Jason scanned the walls with his camera. These weren't made with tools, they're burned in. Suddenly, his screen glitched. For a split second, a face appeared. Sunken eyes, a gaping mouth, then static. Claire took a cautious step forward. "Thomas Carver, if you can hear me, we're not here to hurt you. We want to tell your story." The temperature dropped instantly. Her breath misted in front of her. Then a faint scratching began behind her. Slow, deliberate. She turned. Nothing. The noise came again, louder this time, right beside her ear. Jason swung his camera toward the sound. "Claire, look!" The symbols on the walls were glowing faintly red. Lines of light slithered through them like veins. The air pulsed, alive with a low hum. Claire stumbled backward. "We have to go, now!" But as they turned to leave, the cell door slammed shut. Jason threw his shoulder against it. "It won't open!" From behind the wall, something started laughing, hoarse and broken, as though someone hadn't used their voice in centuries. Claire pressed her recorder against her chest. "Please, let us go!" The laughter stopped. Then, carved into the dust on the floor, words appeared as if written by invisible fingers. "I never left. Neither will you." And then, her flashlight died. Darkness swallowed them whole. Claire's hands shook as she fumbled for her flashlight. It flickered once, revealing Jason's terrified face, then went out again. Only the faint red glow from the walls illuminated cell 108, pulsing like a dying heartbeat. "Claire," Jason whispered, "something's in here." She could hear it too, the sound of slow, heavy breathing that wasn't theirs. It came from the far corner, low and rasping, like air being dragged through broken lungs. Claire raised her recorder again. "Who are you?" Silence. Then a deep, guttural voice replied, so close she could feel the vibration in her bones. "The Keeper still watches." Jason pointed his camera toward the sound, his hands trembling. The faint light from the viewfinder revealed a figure standing in the shadows, tall, cloaked in tattered black, with a ring of ancient keys hanging from its belt. Its face was hidden beneath a hood, but 2 hollow eye sockets glimmered faintly, as though burning from within. Claire's throat tightened. The Keeper, from the old legends. He guarded the solitary cells. Jason backed toward the door. This isn't a legend anymore. The figure stepped closer, its chains dragging across the floor. The keys clinked softly, echoing down the corridor beyond. "They sinned," the voice rasped. "They begged for freedom. I gave them silence." Claire's voice quivered. "We're not prisoners. We just came to..." Before she could finish, the cell door flung open with a metallic scream. The corridor outside was no longer the same. The walls seemed to twist and breathe, melting into one another like a living maze. Jason grabbed her hand. "Go!" They ran, their footsteps splashing through puddles of cold water. The hall stretched endlessly, repeating itself. Same rusted doors, same broken lights, same whispers. The keeper's footsteps followed, slow and steady, always behind them, but never far. Claire gasped. This can't be real. Jason turned a corner and stopped dead. The corridor ended abruptly in a brick wall that hadn't been there before. From behind them came the rattle of chains. "Jason," Claire whispered, "turn off the light." They crouched in darkness, breathless. The keeper's voice echoed faintly. "Repentance must be earned. The walls remember." Something brushed against Claire's arm, icy, skeletal fingers. She screamed and swung her flashlight. The beam cut through dust and shadow, revealing old photographs nailed to the wall. Hundreds of faces. Prisoners, guards, visitors. And there, among them, were her own face and Jason's, black and white, aged, and cracked. Jason's voice broke. "No, that's us." The keeper's whisper was now behind them. "Now the prison knows you." A door appeared in the wall ahead, creaking open on its own. Beyond it lay a spiral staircase descending into blackness. Claire looked at Jason, trembling. It's the only way. As they stepped into the dark stairwell, the door slammed shut above them, and the whispers followed them down, chanting in unison, "No one leaves Eastern State." The staircase seemed endless, spiraling deeper beneath the prison. Claire's flashlight flickered weakly, barely cutting through the damp blackness. Each step groaned underfoot, echoing like a heartbeat in the void. The air was suffocating, thick with mold, iron, and something older, something that felt alive. Jason's voice cracked. "We've been walking forever. We should have hit the basement by now." Claire paused, her mind spinning. "What if we're not going down?" she whispered. "What if it's leading us somewhere else?" A low hum rippled through the walls, followed by faint whispers. Dozens of voices speaking over one another, desperate, pleading. "Claire," Jason pointed ahead. At the base of the stairs, a faint light glowed. They stepped into a vast underground chamber. It wasn't part of any tour. This place wasn't meant to exist. The ceiling arched high above, dripping with moisture, and the walls were carved with the same burning symbols they'd seen in Cell 108. In the center stood an ancient iron chair, bound with chains, surrounded by old bloodstains dark as tar. Claire lifted her recorder, her hand trembling. "This must be where they punished them?" The air shifted. Every chain in the room began to tremble. Jason raised his camera, his voice barely a whisper. "Claire, someone's in the chair." The beam of light caught a figure slumped forward, thin, skeletal, its wrists bound. Its head lifted slowly, and hollow eyes stared back. The voice that emerged was a rasping whisper, one that seemed to echo from every direction at once. "We waited so long." Claire stumbled backwards. "Who are you?" "We are the forgotten, the ones walled away and fed to silence." The room erupted in screams, hundreds of them. Faces appeared in the walls, mouths open in agony. The chains whipped through the air, wrapping around Jason's legs and dragging him toward the iron chair. "Jason!" Claire screamed, grabbing his arms. "It wants me, Claire! It won't let us leave!" The keeper appeared behind the chair, towering and shrouded, his keys jingling like a death knell. Every sin must have a warden. Every trespasser, a cell. The walls shuddered. The floor cracked open beneath Claire's feet, revealing endless darkness below. She held onto Jason with all her strength, but the chains pulled tighter. His scream echoed through the chamber as he was yanked into the chair, and the instant he touched it, he was gone. Only the empty shackles remained. Claire fell to her knees, sobbing. "Please, let me go!" The keeper turned toward her. Beneath his hood, she saw not one face, but many, shifting and merging, prisoners, guards, even Robert, their missing guide. You wanted their stories. Now you are one. Her flashlight shattered. When the storm cleared the next morning, the security guards found the main gate of Eastern State Penitentiary open. Jason's camera lay on the ground inside cell block 12, still recording. The final frame showed a single cell door closing on its own. And in the faint reflection of the metal, Claire's face stared back, whispering, "Still here."